Acre. They lived on a 150-acre farm. Afterlife. I believe that there is an afterlife. Archaeology. He enjoyed visiting the Great Pyramids of Egypt because he loves archaeology. Chamber. The meeting was held in the faculty chamber. Channel. The river cut a channel through the rocks. Core. Earth has a solid inner core. Corridor. He took the corridor on the left to go to his office. Distinct. He has a distinct accent. Elite. Only an elite group was allowed membership into the club. Engineer. After engineering the robot, they needed to find the correct parts to build it. Found. My grandfather founded the City Bank. Gap. There is a small gap between the blocks of wood. Glory. They enjoyed the glory of the beautiful sunset. Interior. They looked at the interior of the box. Lion. We went to see the lion at the zoo. Role. Her role in the office is to sell products to customers. Royal. The Duchess was part of the royal family. Soul. She was the sole woman in the room. Stairs. He took the stairs instead of the elevator. Surface. She wiped the surface of the table. Agreement. I think you'll get Tom's agreement to this proposal. Arise. Difficulties arose with his computer because it was old. Benefactor. The student's benefactor gave him money to spend on his studies. Blacksmith. The blacksmith pounded the piece of metal until it was flat. Chimney. The cat was sitting on the roof next to the chimney. Compensate. Her boss compensated her for the extra work she did last week. Encounter. I encountered a sea turtle while I was swimming. Exceed. Since I exceeded my limit, I decided to get rid of my credit cards. Forge. Stacy and Heather forged their friendship when they were teenagers. Humble. Even though Bob is the smartest boy in his class, he is humble. Iron. The horse had shoes made of iron. Ladder. He used a ladder to climb to the top of his treehouse. Modest. Derek is very modest for someone who is so rich. Occupy. Kevin and Alice occupied the chairs and had a long discussion. Penny. U.S. President Abraham Lincoln is on the penny. Preach. Aaron often preached about living an honest life. Prosper. Frank's new business finally prospered after many years of hard work. Province. Canada is divided into several different provinces. Satisfaction. Brad was filled with satisfaction when he saw what was for dinner. Sustain. Wind power is a clean way to sustain a city with energy. Acquire. Tina acquired a strange package yesterday. Awkward. After dropping his coffee cup, Robbie felt awkward. Caretaker. My grandmother's caretaker helps her get around the house. Deceive. He tried to deceive his friends with a card trick. Discourage. Mr. Perry discouraged the students from quitting school. Fake. The model was wearing fake hair. Hatred. I have a hatred for the taste of medicine. Hut. We all went into the hut to sleep. Inferior. Cars built 100 years ago are inferior to ones built today. Lodge. During our ski trip, we stayed at a lodge. Neglect. William neglected his room, so it is a complete mess. Newcomer. The students happily welcomed the newcomer to the school. Offense. Stealing a car is a very serious offense. Overlook. Brenda overlooked the last step and had a bad fall. Repay. She repaid her friend for all of his hard work with a small gift. Ridiculous. Steve looked ridiculous with those huge blue sunglasses. Satisfactory. Mina often received satisfactory grades since she studied so hard. Shepherd. The shepherd moved the sheep to another field. Venture. Even though it was dangerous, they ventured up the mountain. Wheat. The field of golden wheat was ready to be harvested. Alley. The alley behind my house looks dirty. Axe. She used an axe to cut some wood for the fire. Bunch. She was hungry, so she ate the entire bunch of grapes. Chore. It's Nikki's chore to do the dishes every Tuesday and Wednesday night. Decent. Eric did a decent job painting the fence. Disgraceful. This is a disgraceful waste of money. Elbow. She pointed to her elbow to show me where she hurt herself. Grateful. The girls were grateful for the chance to visit their grandfather. Irritate. Karen's brother irritated her when he told her that he had lost her camera. Kid. I am not really mad. I was kidding when I said I was angry. Loose. The bolt was loose, so I tightened it with the wrench. Offend. They were both offended by what they had said to each other. Overnight. The campers stayed in the tent overnight. Persist. Even though the lesson was difficult, he persisted until he understood. Pine. There were many beautiful pine trees in the forest. Scar. The man had horrible scars on his cheek and forehead. Sensation. Mom got a painful sensation in her head from the loud noise. Sled. Marvin likes to ride his sled down the hill in winter. Tease. Jake teased Charlie because he was the new student. Valentine. Harry wanted Molly to be his Valentine. Acquaint. Nancy acquainted herself with the new computer. Cemetery. Some people are scared of cemeteries. Creature. Those creatures live in Africa. Curse. The witch cursed the village. Disguise. Everyone knew that it was Dad in the Santa disguise. Fancy. Their table was all set for a fancy dinner. Flashlight. We took a flashlight when we went camping. Hood. She put on her hood to keep her head warm. Inhabitant. The number of inhabitants in the countryside is increasing. Nourish. A good mother will nourish her baby every day. Pirate. Pirates are very scary characters. Publication. She's been a subscriber to that publication for over 10 years. Riddle. I could not answer Wendy's riddle, but it made me laugh. Rot. The old log began to rot in the forest. Shortly. My workday will end shortly. Skeleton. There is a skeleton in the science classroom. Spoil. We left the fruit out too long, and it spoiled. Starve. During the war, many people starved. Thrill. The surfer enjoys the thrill of surfing a big wave. Wicked. My boss is a very wicked man. Alert. The fire alarm alerted us that there was a problem. Broadcast. We watched the broadcast of the local news on TV. Bulletin. There was a live bulletin reporting on the economy of the city. Bump. The monkey got a bump on his head because he was hit by a rock. Chop. Mom chopped some vegetables to put into the stew. Closet. Marie has many clothes inside of her closet. Console. When my dog ran away, my dad consoled me. District. I live in a residential district of Seattle, Washington. Drawer. I put my clothes into the empty drawers. Endure. She had to endure her husband shouting all day long. Execute. Some people are executed for serious crimes. Grasp. He grasped the bag of money tightly. Rear. The man loaded the rear of his truck with boxes. Senator. The young senator promised to make laws that would help the people. Skull. The brain is protected by the skull. Stir. Mom stirred the batter until it was smooth. Tap. He tapped the keys of the keyboard to write a short word. Tremendous. The Earth's oceans are filled with a tremendous amount of water. Underneath. The roots of a tree are located underneath the ground. Worm. Worms are often used to help catch fish. Abandon. The old room had been abandoned years before. Ambitious. Kendra had to be ambitious to get into medical school. Bark. The dog barked loudly and frighteningly. Bay. The Golden Gate Bridge crosses San Francisco Bay. Brilliant. My younger sister is brilliant for someone her age. Chin. Luke pointed to the hair on his chin. Complaint. Mom said she didn't want to hear my brother's complaints. Deaf. Susan uses sign language because she is deaf. Enthusiastic. The man was enthusiastic about his job. Expedition. They got into their spaceship to begin their expedition. Horizon. The sun dipped below the horizon. Loyal. The three friends are very loyal to each other. Mayor. The mayor of my hometown is quite a powerful speaker. Mutual. Robert likes Sarah, and she likes him. The feeling is mutual. Overweight. Lisa eats too much, so now she's overweight. Refuge. When it started to rain, she found refuge in the house. Restore. Victor restored the old car. Rub. Mom's feet were sore, so she rubbed them. Senses. It would be hard to live without your 5 senses. Veterinarian. Wanda became a veterinarian because she loves dogs. Anniversary. My parents went out to a restaurant for their wedding anniversary. Arithmetic. I like to study arithmetic at school. Ashamed. He was ashamed when he forgot his teacher's name. Burst. The bomb burst over the city. Carpenter. We hired a carpenter to make a cupboard. Coal. Many power stations burn coal to produce energy. Couch. Kim and Martin's new couch was very expensive. Drip. I heard water dripping from the faucet. Elegant. In Japan, women wear elegant kimonos on special occasions. Fabric. The towels were made from a soft fabric. Highlands. The man had a small home in the highlands. Ivory. The elephant's long ivory tusks looked very impressive. Mill. The farmer took his wheat to the mill to make it into flour. Needle. I used a needle to fix the hole in my pants. Polish. Mark spent all morning polishing his shoes for the wedding. Sew. I learned to sew when I was a little girl. Shed. We have a small shed in the backyard for storage. Thread. I have many different colors of thread at home. Trim. I had my hair trimmed this afternoon. Upwards. The kite went upwards further and further. Ally. I was happy to find many allies who shared my opinion. Boast. We all became tired of listening to him boast about himself all day. Bounce. Owen bounced the ball on the ground. Bully. The two bullies always picked on the smaller, weaker kids. Carbohydrate. Carbohydrates like rice are a good source of energy for active people. Crawl. The baby crawled across the floor. Defeat. The champion defeated the challenger in the boxing match. Dial. I looked at the dial to see what time it was. Dominant. The gorilla is one of the dominant animals in the jungle. Entire. The entire table was covered with food. Mercy. He asked his boss for mercy and to not fire him. Nod. I nodded my head as I listened to the song. Opponent. On the field, our opponents were too good for us. Quarrel. Billy quarreled with his wife about buying a new house. Rival. The three rivals were all competing for the same job. Sore. After lifting the heavy box, Mona's back was sore. Sting. The needle stung my arm and made me say, ouch. Strain. Casey strained to lift the heavy box. Torture. Greg thought that writing the essay was torture. Wrestle. My dad loved to wrestle when he was in high school. Absence. There is an absence of sand in the hourglass. Aloud. My father often reads stories aloud to me and my sister. Bald. My oldest brother is bald. Blanket. I laid a blanket on the ground so that we could have a picnic. Creep. The cat slowly crept down the tree. Divorce. Divorce rates have increased in the past 20 years. Imitate. He imitated his favorite superhero by putting on a costume. Infant. The infant cried all night. Kidnap. She was terrified to find out her son had been kidnapped. Nap. I took a short nap because I had stayed up late last night. Nowhere. Unfortunately, water was nowhere to be found. Pat. I patted some lotion onto my face. Relief. I felt a sense of relief when I heard the good news. Reproduce. The children tried to reproduce their house using toy blocks. Rhyme. Humpty Dumpty is an old rhyme that children learn in school. Suck. The baby sucked milk from her bottle. Urgent. He had to leave at that moment. It was urgent. Vanish. All the passengers vanished from the train station. Wagon. He used his wagon to carry some of his gifts. Wrinkle. My grandfather has some wrinkles on his face. Architecture. The Sydney Opera House is a good example of modern architecture. Basket. He put the vegetables in a basket. Bloom. The white daisies were about to bloom. Canoe. He paddled his canoe to the edge of the lake. Carpet. His white living room carpet was soft. Cousin. My cousin looks just like me. Desk. She put the books on her desk. Gallery. The art gallery displayed beautiful paintings. Guest. Alice invited a special guest for dinner. Host. He was a gracious host. July. Her birthday is in July. Modern. The kitchen had a modern look. Museum. The Louvre is a famous museum in France. Pink. She chose a pink lipstick. Plane. They took a plane across the ocean to India. Refrigerator. He kept milk, eggs, and butter in the refrigerator. Temperature. In the winter, the temperature can drop below 0 degrees. Theater. He took her to see a comedy show at the theater. Upper. He took the elevator to the upper floor. Welcome. She greeted her friends with a warm welcome. Anticipate. Carrie anticipated the arrival of her baby. Barrel. There was an empty barrel outside the house. Beam. Modern skyscrapers are made with many beams. Casual. You can wear casual clothes, like jeans, to the party. Caution. Please use the power saw with caution. It is very dangerous. Contrary. It isn't warm outside at all. On the contrary, it is quite cold. Deliberate. Bernie made a deliberate attempt to injure Andy. Dissolve. I dissolved the pill in a glass of water. Explode. The old TV exploded when I plugged it in. Fasten. Elizabeth fastened her seatbelt. Germ. Germs are on everything that you touch. Kit. Is there a first aid kit in your office? Puff. A puff of smoke came from the burnt match. Rag. Please use a rag to clean the dust off the table. Scatter. I accidentally scattered all of my pills. Scent. Julie enjoyed the scent of the flowers. Steel. The new apartment building was made with steel. Swift. The swift horse easily jumped over the hurdle. Toss. He tossed a coin into the air. Triumph. He raised the award in triumph at the end of his speech. Aboard. They climbed aboard the kayak and paddled through the river. Bitter. He was extremely bitter when his computer crashed. Bullet. Bullets come in different sizes for different guns. Devil. The church promised protection from the devil. Drift. The large chunk of ice drifted in the water. Enforce. Police enforce traffic laws to keep everyone safe. Fountain. There was a beautiful fountain in the middle of the park. Harbor. There were a few small boats in the harbor. Inhabit. No one inhabits the ancient city. March. The soldiers marched in straight rows. Millionaire. He became a millionaire because he was smart with his money. Port. The ship was being loaded with materials at the port. Sheriff. It was the sheriff's job to make the city safe. Startle. The loud crash startled the sleeping woman. Sweat. Whenever I go to the gym, I sweat quite a bit. Trigger. The man had his finger on the trigger of the gun. Unify. With their good deeds, the children tried to unify the world. Vessel. We toured the area aboard a luxury vessel. Voyage. The astronauts took off on a long voyage to the moon. Worship. Many people around the world worship in a church. Apprentice. Mark is an apprentice chef at the restaurant. Assure. He assured the boss that the building would be done on time. Bandage. If you cut yourself, please get a bandage from the first aid kit. Bleed. If you are not careful, you will cut your finger and bleed. Bond. The women bonded after several hours of conversation. Chef. Tom is a chef at the restaurant near my house. Crown. The crown is made of gold. Departure. They were excited about their departure to go back home. Diligent. Craig has always been a very diligent person at work. Emperor. The Emperor Julius Caesar was in control of ancient Rome. Fiber. The mat was made from tiny fibers. Horrible. The assignment was horrible. I hated it. Impolite. Roger is impolite to everyone he meets.
Kneel. Daryl kneeled down on one knee and asked Nina to marry him.
Luxury. Our honeymoon resort was a luxury we really enjoyed. Massive. The wheels on his truck were massive.
Panic. Everyone panicked when the house caught on fire. Priority. My priority is to get good grades in school. Robe. The monks at the temple all wear robes. Scold. Jessie was scolded by the teacher for not paying attention. Affair. My wife and I attended a formal affair over the weekend. Assembly. The students had an assembly to talk about their interests. Bless. The angel blessed the newborn baby to keep it safe. Cereal. Cereal is a fast and common breakfast food enjoyed in the U.S. Cheerful. The children were cheerful because they didn't have to go to school. Diameter. The diameter of the tree was about 60 centimeters. Exploit. The company exploits their workers and makes them work 12 hours a day. Famine. The farmers couldn't grow any food in the dry soil, so there was a famine. Harvest. They had a lot of wheat from the last harvest. Merry. They felt merry because the weather was great. Nut. To eat a nut, you must first crack its shell. Pardon. Pardon me, teacher, but could you repeat what you just said? Pharaoh. The pharaohs ruled Egypt for thousands of years. Ripe. The cherries were nice and ripe. Roast. Mom roasted a turkey for the holiday dinner. Routine. My father's daily routine includes shaving right before breakfast. Scheme. Jason and Mark came up with a scheme to solve the problem. Slim. Look at my new cell phone. It's very slim.
Stove. Our new stove helps us to cook food much faster than before. Theft. The theft of his TV took place when he was at work. Adolescent. The adolescent was excited about getting a skateboard for his birthday. Aptitude. He has a natural aptitude for water skiing. Compliment. Her coworker complimented her for doing a good job. Hinder. All the traffic hindered me from getting to work on time. Journalism. Before becoming a teacher, she worked in journalism. Jury. The jury listened closely to the attorney before they made their decision. Justice. People turn to the court system when they are seeking justice. Liberty. To many people, the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of freedom. Literary. He worked hard to create a successful literary career. Pharmacy. My mother sells medicine to people at the pharmacy. Pill. She took a pill for her headache. Presume. Since the girl raised her hand, the teacher presumed she knew the answer. Privacy. Please hang the sign on the door so we can have some privacy. Punishment. He was given a punishment for being rude to the teacher. Sensible. It was sensible for her to save some money each month. Slice. The girl enjoyed a slice of cake at her birthday party. Sorrow. The girl felt sorrow after her best friend moved away. Straw. I drank the orange juice through a straw. Swell. My sister's stomach began to swell after she got pregnant. Tidy. Leon has always been a very tidy boy. Affection. Amanda has a lot of affection for her little sister, Sarah. Agency. I went to a travel agency to help me arrange a flight home. Ash. The end of his cigar was full of ashes. Confine. The elephant is confined to a cage in the zoo. Dismiss. He quickly dismissed my idea about the new project. Erupt. The volcano erupted for the first time in 10 years. Fate. Some people believe that the lines on a person's hand can tell his or her fate. Lava. The red-hot lava poured from the volcano. Miserable. He was miserable after his dog died. Navigate. She navigated the ship across the ocean. Originate. The idea of democracy originated in ancient Greece. Remainder. He took a bite of the apple and then gave me the remainder of it. Retrieve. She retrieved her mail from the mailbox. Shallow. The kids were playing in the shallow water. Slope. The slope to the top of the mountain was very steep. Span. His work at the bakery has spanned 20 years. Superstition. It is a superstition that Friday the 13th is an unlucky day. Sympathy. I felt sympathy for my sister, so I got her a balloon to cheer her up. Vibrate. The machine made his whole body vibrate as he broke up the ground. Wander. The boys like to wander in the woods and look at birds. Armor. The soldier wore armor to protect his body. Blaze. The small fire soon blazed into a large, dangerous one. Boom. The firecrackers made a loud boom when they exploded. Cliff. The wolf stood at the cliff and howled. Flame. The torch was filled with yellow and orange flames. Independence. After leaving home, Sophia had a great feeling of independence. Invasion. In Korea, walls were built around cities to protect them from invasions. Knight. He was the best soldier, so the king made him a knight. Lightning. The lightning flashed above the water. Rebel. The rebel was angry about the government's unfair policies. Retreat. The army retreated because they were losing the battle. Revolution. The revolution in Russia led to the creation of the Soviet Union. Spear. The soldier was holding a spear in his hand. Steep. He rode his bike up the steep hill to reach the top. Summit. Snow covered the summit of the mountain even during the summer. Thunder. The sound of the thunder startled me. Troops. The troops were all prepared to go into battle. Warrior. The samurai were some of the most skilled warriors in the ancient world. Withdraw. After losing the battle, the enemy withdrew back to its own country. Yield. He had to yield his turn because he was in checkmate. Bench. Most parks have benches for people to relax upon. Daisy. There were a few daisies growing in the field. Dispute. Karen and Brian often have disputes about silly things. Empty. The teacher showed the students an empty bottle. Horror. The audience screamed in horror when the ghost appeared in the movie. Incident. Mr. Wilson had an incident. He became sick and had to leave. Mist. The forest was covered with mist. Object. The shopping cart was filled with objects. Orphan. The orphan frequently cried during the night. Plot. The group was plotting to ruin the company's financial reports. Pregnant. The pregnant woman was shopping for baby clothes. Rage. The chef was filled with rage when his helpers ruined the meal. Revenge. He broke his sister's doll as revenge after she lost his favorite book. Shame. The boy felt shame about misplacing his clothes. Sigh. Molly sighed when she looked at all the information she had to research. Sneak. The thief snuck out of the house without anyone noticing him. Spare. I wanted to help him, but I couldn't spare a tire. Stem. The rose had a long, thin stem. Supper. We usually have supper around 6 o'clock at my house. Tender. The meat was so tender they didn't need knives to cut it. Beneath. The largest part of an iceberg lies beneath the waterline. Cub. The lion cub was crying for its mother. Dawn. At dawn, the sun gently rose over the farm. Dissatisfied. I was dissatisfied with their decision to work on Sunday. Ease. The monkey climbed the tree with ease. Evident. It was evident from the look on his face that he was unhappy. Hail. The hail from the storm was the size of golf balls. Howl. The wolf howled at the moon. Leap. He had to leap over the gap to reach the other side of the hill. Magnificent. The man gave his wife a pair of magnificent diamond earrings. Necessity. Fresh water is a necessity for life. Outcome. The outcome of his latest business plan was a complete failure. Pile. The pile of cups was beginning to lean. Profound. For a young man, Jeremy has some profound thoughts. Seize. The man seized as much money as he could before anyone could see him. Squeeze. When Clara saw her cat, she squeezed it to her face. Supreme. The supreme officer was in charge of keeping the citizens calm. Terrific. My youngest daughter is a terrific painter. Trait. One trait of Salvador's personality is his cheerfulness. Vital. The heart is a vital organ. Attack. She watched the lizard attack its prey. Breast. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. Cancer. He was a leading scientist in finding a cure for cancer. Cancerous. The exam found cancerous cells in the patient's blood. Cell. A red blood cell carries oxygen. Cigarette. Cigarette smoking is terrible for your health. Code. She used the code to solve the puzzle. Cure. Scientists are still working on finding a cure for diabetes. Destruction. The wildfires left the forest in a state of destruction. DNA. The police sometimes use DNA to solve crime. Extensive. The game drew extensive media coverage. Female. She is the only female student in her class with short hair. Furthermore. She's clever, and furthermore, she is not afraid of work. Gene. Gene therapy is sometimes used to treat an illness. Inherit. All the girls in my family inherit red hair from my great-grandmother. Link. The two lines in the poem share a common link. Male. He was the only male in the store. Population. The population of our city is steadily growing. Result. The result of her experiment was surprising. Sugar. She added extra sugar to her tea. Accommodate. The meeting room can accommodate 9 people. Circus. I like to go to the circus to see the animals do tricks. Coincide. My birthday coincides with Christmas. Commission. The artist was commissioned to create a picture. Dose. My mother gave me a dose of medicine before I went to bed. Dye. Valerie got her hair dyed at the salon yesterday. Extent. He ate to such an extent that he became overweight. Gender. Do you know the gender of her new baby? Headline. The headline on the front page was about the economy. Informal. They had an informal meeting to talk about their experiences. Inquire. Dad called to inquire about the price of tickets for the show. Messenger. The messenger delivered an important document to the office. Peer. She peered at people through the window. Portrait. I saw many religious portraits when I went to the museum. Pose. The kids and their dog posed for a picture. Ranch. My uncle has many horses on his ranch. Steer. He steered the go-kart around the track. Stripe. The flag of the United States has red and white stripes. Tame. The tame bird rested in his hand. Tempt. I wasn't hungry, but she tempted me with a piece of my favorite cake. Ban. Smoking is banned in this building. Cautious. Be very cautious as you stack those boxes. Confess. The woman confessed that she had stolen the money. Cottage. My aunt lives in a pretty cottage in the mountains. Daytime. The kids are only allowed to play outside in the daytime. Desperate. I'm desperate to find a new job. Exhausting. After an exhausting journey, we finally arrived. Fade. The piece of cloth I found was old and faded. Fierce. Wolves are fierce animals. Do not disturb them. Gamble. Many people like to go to casinos to gamble. Lawn. My dad keeps the lawn in front of our house very neat. Mow. I mow our lawn every weekend. Outlaw. The police passed out posters of the outlaw to all the people. Prospect. He wakes up every morning with the prospect of having a good day. Purse. My sister likes to buy designer purses. Rod. I bought a new fishing rod to use while on vacation. Seldom. It seldom rains in southern Arizona. Shave. My father shaves his face every day because he doesn't want a beard. Terrified. When I saw the ghost, I was absolutely terrified. Wizard. The wizard made gold fall from the sky. Abroad. My friend is going on a summer trip abroad. Airline. The airline has excellent customer service. Audience. He was excited to be part of the audience. Bargain. She was looking forward to getting a good bargain at the supermarket. Brief. The lawyers took a brief break. Currency. The currency in China is different from that in Australia. Data. He saved all the data on his computer. Domestic. The airline has 50 domestic flights daily. Draft. He was writing his first draft. Gather. We will gather the children before the meeting. Hobby. She liked to paint as a hobby. Income. She was saving her income to buy a house. Jet. Her company owns a private jet. Maximum. The maximum driving speed here is 80 kilometers per hour. Official. Her official degree was being transferred. Recommend. His doctor will recommend the best medicine for her cough. Refer. Mr. Sid referred to the time to show Bill that he was late for class. Remote. He lived in a remote village in the Himalayas. Sleepless. Jill had a sleepless night because she had so much on her mind. Volume. The volume of cars in the parking lot was steadily increasing. Circulate. The fan helped to circulate cool air through the room. Consequent. Her consequent rash came after she touched the poisonous plant. Derive. Red's nickname was derived from the color of her hair. Drown. He would have drowned if the sailors had not rescued him. Dynasty. The ancient Egyptians had a dynasty that lasted for many years. Fraction. Only a fraction of the cake was gone. Frost. In the morning, the trees were all covered with frost. Illusion. Some pictures create an illusion for the eyes. Invade. The enemy forces tried to invade our country from the sky. Lieutenant. The lieutenant was a good leader, and his soldiers respected him. Marine. A healthy ocean is full of marine animals. Merit. The actor received an award for his merits in the movie. Navy. My country is known for our strong navy. Polar. Only a few people live in the Earth's northern polar region. Ray. The sun's warm rays covered the beach. Resign. After I officially resigned from work, I said goodbye to my boss. Suicide. Some people feel so sad that they think suicide is the only answer. Tremble. Harry was not used to the cold, so he trembled most of the day. Underlying. Her underlying fear of flying reduced her traveling options. Via. We arrived in the city from the airport via the train. Alter. I altered the color of my nails to match my hair.
Aside.
The man stood aside and opened the door for me. Autumn. I love when the leaves fall in autumn because I can play in them. Blend. My wife blended together all of the ingredients to make a delicious stew. Collapse. The tree collapsed right in front of our house. Crush. Selena's new car was crushed when the tree fell on top of it. Curve. The road curves to the left and to the right. Disgusting. After running all day, Greg's feet had a disgusting odor. Drain. The water in the sink goes down the drain as you wash your hands. Embrace. When they saw each other again, the happy couple embraced. Envy. Sally envied the happy couple. Fireworks.
The display of fireworks was so beautiful.
Flour. I wanted to bake a pie, but I needed flour. Fuse. The boy lit the fuse on the rocket and waited for it to burst in the sky. Ginger. Ginger is a common ingredient in many dishes from India. Jealous. Miriam was jealous because Sue was paying too much attention to Jim. Paste. My son needed some paste for a school project. Receipt. After looking at my receipt, I realized that I had spent too much money. Wipe. She wiped the dust from the windows. Wire. The wires were connected to towers that brought electricity to the city. Acknowledge. The teacher acknowledged that the young student was hungry. Ambassador. The ambassador from Korea was in charge of the conference. Blonde. My cousin is a blonde with blue eyes. Conquer. The soldiers were trying to conquer the world. Drag. The dog was dragging his owner down the street. Exaggerate. Jimmy wasn't exaggerating about the seriousness of his injury. Heritage. Teepees are part of the heritage of the Native Americans of the Plains. Insult. The girls insulted each other all afternoon. Meanwhile. He wants to be a doctor in the future, but meanwhile, he works a regular job. Necklace. Joyce received a lovely pearl necklace for her wedding anniversary. Noble. The Queen invited a noble from a nearby country to dinner. Precious. In a desert, water can be more precious than money. Prejudice. The company's rules against gender prejudice must be enforced. Rumor. Carla was spreading rumors around the office. Sin. Taking something that doesn't belong to you is a sin. Spectacle. Niagara Falls is quite a spectacle. Stack. There was a stack of paperwork on his desk to complete. Suspicious. Dad was suspicious of the caller on the line. Tin. Soup is a food that is often sold in tin cans. Vase. The vase was filled with such lovely flowers. Ache. Mindy's head ached because she bumped it against the wall. Arctic. It is cold when the Arctic winds blow. Canal. The city of Venice, Italy, has many canals. Chemist. My mother is a successful chemist who helps invent new products. Chill. The chill from the cold wind made Bill shiver. Congress. Congress makes laws for people to follow. Dairy. Things like milk and cheese are dairy foods. Descend. I descended the stairs to get out of the building. Grocer. Our grocer, Mr. Smith, is a very kind man. Hesitate. He hesitated for a moment before he decided which one to choose. Institution. Banks are vital institutions that businesses and people use every day. Jog. He jogs every day so he can be healthier. Merchant. The merchant was selling used cars. Poke. I poked my finger on a thumbtack. Postpone. They postponed the meeting until Elena arrived. Splash. Some green paint splashed upon the floor. Stubborn. Both of my parents are stubborn. They never give in to each other. Suburb. I grew up in the suburbs, only a few minutes outside of the city. Tide. The tide continued to crawl upon the beach little by little. Tragedy. It was a tragedy when his house was struck by lightning and burned. Bomb. The bomb will destroy anything that is nearby. Certificate. I was given a certificate for completing the computer course. Circumstance. There were many circumstances behind their success, like hard work. Coffin. When people pass away, they are usually buried inside of a coffin. Cope. He copes with work stress by exercising 3 or 4 times a week. Criticism. She had a lot of criticism about their new plan. Devastate. The entire wall was devastated. Frown. Melissa frowned when she found out that the party had been cancelled. Gaze. We used a telescope to gaze at the stars for over an hour. Glance. She glanced behind her to see if he was looking at her. Grief. The grief caused by losing her parents was very difficult for her. Groom. The groom looked happy as he walked with his new wife. License. In the United States, you need a driver's license to drive legally. Microscope. Germs cannot be seen without a microscope. Nuclear. Nuclear power plants provide inexpensive energy to cities. Portray. Her picture portrayed the house she grew up in when she was little. Rotate. An airplane's propellers rotate quickly to help it fly. Souvenir. I bought a Russian doll as a souvenir on my trip to Moscow. Submarine. The submarine dove under the sea so the enemy couldn't see it. Trace. He traced over the graph with his finger. Coastline. He noticed that most of the cities in Australia are on the coastline. Deter. Icy roads deter people from driving their cars. Devise. The thieves devised a plan to steal the diamonds. Distance. The distance between America and Russia is about 8,000 kilometers. Expertise. John has a lot of advertising expertise. He can sell anything. Fracture. Don't stand on that leg because there is a fracture. It might get worse. Headache. My sister gets a headache every time she has a lot of stress. Implement. The school decided to implement a new teaching strategy. Insight. The physics textbook gave the student a new insight about gravity. Limb. The monkey sat on the tree limb and enjoyed a piece of fruit. Might. Try with all your might to lift the heavy tire. Optimism. The mother had optimism about her children's futures. Proficient. Secretaries are proficient at typing quickly. Raft. He sailed across the Pacific Ocean on a raft. Ridge. The brown bear walked along the edge of the mountain ridge. Shoulder. He carried his bike on his shoulder. Shove. She shoved him out of the way. Spouse. I live in a home with my spouse and our 2 children. Thrust. The boxer thrust his fist into the punching bag. Tolerate. When you are in a hurry, it can be hard to tolerate traffic signals.